welcome to another episode of the Match Slip Podcast. I'm your host, Frank Angeloni. If you haven't listened to our previous episode with store owner Josh of The Gathering Place, I invite you to do so prior to this episode. Like in that episode, we also recorded this episode live at SCG-Con in Columbus, so please pardon the background noise in the convention hall. In this episode, we're talking with Spencer of Magnolia Games, located in Troy, Alabama. So without any further ado, let's get into it. All right, well, welcome, Spencer, to the Match Slip Podcast. How you doing today?
I'm good, man. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Appreciate you coming on. So we're here at SCG-Con. This is day 3 that we're recording this.
Yep. Sunday morning.
And how many of these do you do a year to get the name out about Magnolia Games?
So we're third quarter in this year, and I think we're up to about 30 this year so far. So normally it'll be anywhere from 30 to 45 a year is about how many we do.
And how do you feel the return on the investment is with them compared to the pricing up front that you have to pay to like rent the booth space and all the costs involved?
So, some of them are obviously break even. You can't make money on every one of them, but we just make it our marketing budget, So a lot of the smaller shows, they basically have no cost. They're $100 to $500 for a table. The bigger shows like this one obviously are a lot more expensive. But it's just something we throw in our marketing budget if we don't make our money, and we're happy to put the brand out there and have people see us, I have a lot of people that come up and say, hey, we ordered stuff online from you, it's great to meet you, and it's great to be able to put faces to names and names to faces.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And how has this show been going so far for you guys?
This show is great. It's really surprising how well the show's done, because normally Ohio shows are not very good. Most of the vendors come in with the idea of it being a break-even show, but I think we're well over break-even at this point. So it's been a really, really good weekend for us.
What do you think the reason is for the difficulty with the Ohio shows?
There's just not there is a large Magic presence out here, but a lot of people, it's kind of a catch-22, right? If you have a great game store in the area, there's no need for you to go to a con and play. You play every Friday night. They have all the stuff, blah, 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 blah. Ohio seems to have that. They have a good WPN network. They have good stores around here. And so a lot of the times we don't see people coming out. But this one, it's been great attendance. We've really had a great Ohio show.
That's great.
Yep.
So what can you tell me about the origin story of Magnolia Games, how it came to be, what got you into it?
All right, so I used to own a delivery company that we sold the DoorDash, but I used to own a delivery company, and in our little town of Troy, Alabama, there was nowhere for my drivers to stop and wait for orders. And so I walked into this place in the middle of town. It was called Fanatics back then. And I talked to the owner, and he was like, why don't you come back after closing? Because they had this little glass room inside the building. I was like, this is perfect. They can wait in the glass room. It doesn't disturb anybody, whatever. It's like, how much is it going to be to rent that room? And he said, come back after closing, we'll talk. And came back after closing. It was just him. And he was like, I didn't want to say this while everybody was here, but we're 3 weeks away from closing. It's like, oh, well, what if I just bought the place? And he was like, yep. And I bought the place for $0, and I took $5,700 in debt. And now we have 2 WPN Premium locations, the only ones in Alabama.
So what was that process like, getting the WPN Premium? I've talked to some other stores who have talked about it's a difficult process. There's a lot of money involved with getting things in accordance with the specs that Wizards wants. So what was your experience like?
Yeah, it's rough. They get so specific with it that they tell you what trash cans to buy. So it is very much, if you ever build out a store, you should try to build it out to premium specs, because if not, you're going to go back and throw away everything you just did. We can't have the tables that they require you to have are like $1,000 a table instead of just like a lifetime table you can buy at Sam's Club for $40.
Right.
So it's a heavy monetary investment for sure, but it's cool. You get some extra perks. Used to, you would get collector boosters early and that kind of stuff. Now they've kind of stopped that. Everybody gets them early now. But yeah, it was a grueling process for sure.
What about if you were going to expand out the store and make changes to it? Does that have to be passed by them? Or once you have WPN Premium, you're good at that point, you can do whatever you want?
They check it every quarter.
Okay, so they're always on top of it.
They call and ask for a video every quarter. So if you change anything, you don't have to like necessarily run it by them. But if you change something and they don't like it, they're going to find out in 3 to 6 months, and you have to fix it if they don't like it.
What would you say is the best perk from having the status?
The best perk that I've ever received was the D&D ampersand promos. Obviously, that was like I think there was less than 50 premium stores in the nation at that point, and that was the only way you could get those cards. And all the premium stores got 2 sealed cases of them, and they were like 10 grand a piece. So that helped a lot. Obviously, we gave them away, but it brought people closer to the store. And obviously, I think the ampersand Tiamat that we gave away in a tournament was $600, $800, somewhere around there. Yeah, it was a lot of money. So that helped attendance, and being able to give away like $10,000 in singles was great for nothing, for no cost.
Of course, yeah. Anytime you can give to the community back like that, and it not having to cost you anything. The only part where the cost came in was the upfront with the WPN premium side of things. So you said you're located in Alabama, is that correct?
Yep, we have a store in Huntsville, Alabama, and a store in Troy, Alabama.
And both are WPN premium?
Both are WPN premium. We're almost, we are breaking ground on a new store in Enterprise, Alabama here in the next month.
So that'll be WPN premium?
That'll be WPN premium.
So going on to your third store?
Going on to the third store, yeah. This is going to be, this is actually going to be my corporate office, and a store and a bar and a couple other things, but it's going to be a 40,000 square foot, just like a big metal building that we're putting a store in, and then I own some other stuff that we're going to put in there, but mostly it's going to be our warehouse as well. So it's going to be, it's going to triple the size of our warehouse right now.
That's incredible. So you want to do beer now too?
Yeah, I mean, that's what WPN pushes for a lot. They say
Cafe
either,
style.
Coffee or beer. It just helps margins out. I mean, I think beer margins are like 70%. So it just kind of helps even everything out.
And I'm curious if it's the same across the board, because you could definitely tell you have a successful store, the fact that you're going on three WPN premium. Sure. I haven't heard any stores yet that have, WPN premium alone is difficult to get, but to get 3 of them to where you're at is a great track record, and I'm happy for you to see that that's occurring. So with all of that being said, how many employees do you employ to be able to manage all of it?
My payroll is 52, but that includes my other stores. So I think it's somewhere around 40.
40 employees.
I think it's somewhere around 40 employees right now. With my warehouse staff, it's probably closer to 52 actually. Oh, wow. Yeah, I forgot about them for a second because they're on a different payroll system. But yeah, probably about 52.
And what are the roles involved with the employees at your store? Because I know in many cases, if we looked at a small store, a lot of them, work the counter, help people find cards. But with your operation, it's probably a little bit maybe more involved than the typical store.
Yeah, it is. So the way our stores are kind of different because we only have one big warehouse in Troy. So our online orders go out of our Troy warehouse. So anything that comes through TCG, eBay, any of our affiliate sites, that all goes through our Troy warehouse. So we have 12 staff members there that work our warehouse. And then we have 2 managers for one in the store in Troy and one in the store in Huntsville. We have people that pick orders. We have people that just work the store. Probably something that a lot of the smaller stores don't have and this is kind of just a luxury, honestly. We have 2 people that walk in every day to our store, and they get a random list of 100 cards, and they go pull those cards to make sure that they're really there. So it's like an inventory management check every day to make sure that our inventory is correct. So that's probably the one role that I have that a lot of stores don't have. It just, it's so easy to mess up your inventory with thousands and thousands and thousands of cards that you come in every day.
And what's the most difficult thing you would say about managing all the different cards? The one thing that I've been having stores tell me about is today's day and age, all the variants that are involved make it quite a challenge. I'm curious if that's a barrier or a difficulty for your team, or if with the number of employees you have and your operation, if it's easier to control.
It's definitely not easy to manage. When you have 10 versions of a card and they all look just a hair different, it's going to make mistakes. I mean, an etched foil versus a retro frame foil is very, very small difference. And it's funny because the sorting machines don't actually tell the difference. So that all has to be hand done because we have a bunch of the Rokas.
Okay, I've heard a little bit about that. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because
Sure.
how does it know how to do what it's doing?
So it's got 12 hoppers on the front, or no, eight hoppers on the front. You load them up, and it grabs them, takes a picture, and spits out a CSV at the end of it. The problem is that you only can have either non-foil or foil loaded into it. So you do non-foil, it does a really, really great job at non-foil. Foil and some of the specialty treatments and all the different foils that there are now, we don't like to run foils through it, so we just run non-foils. But yeah, it takes a picture, moves it. There's like 32 bays behind it, so it can do alphabetical, it can do it by set, it can do it by color, it can do it any way you want. It's a really, really great machine for picking bulk.
I know you said you don't put the foils through it. I'm curious from your standpoint with selling foil cards, and the biggest thing today is like the quality of those foils compared to back when you and I first started playing and the foils were pristine quality. Like I'm just thinking like 7th edition or something like that.
Yeah.
Now today they seem to curl a lot easier, and I'm sure from a store standpoint, when those carry a higher premium of a price tag, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, these are no good now. What are the best ways you would say you guys have tried to maintain the quality of them when they're traded in, or when you get them from, say, opening boxes?
So whenever we have a foil heavy set like Commander Masters, or it was really prevalent in I think it was Double Masters, we actually put silica packets in all of our 800 counts now to help a little bit with the curling. It doesn't cure it, but it helps a lot. It just depends on where they're printed is the bad part. Commander Masters has been fine. I can't remember what the set was that was just awful. I mean, it was literally right out of the pack. It was awful. But yeah, I mean, we just try to keep those silica packets in all our 800 counts, and it seems to help a little bit.
That's good. I mean, I'm sure, when you have a set that's that badly curled, that must be a real detrimental thing, because considering also sealed product, the margins are a lot lower than selling the single cards. So I mean, at least there's that option. I've actually heard of that from the professor at Tulare Community College. He's talked about the packets before.
Yeah, it's a smart thing to do. It does suck when you have $10,000 of product and you go, let's rip it all, and you start ripping really bad quality singles.
What do you do with them at that point?
Normally we just mark them MP and move on with our life. People will still buy them, just not near mint. I mean, there's no way you can sell a U card as near mint.
No, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And with your stores in Alabama, how would you, from a geographical standpoint, to the closest major city, how, for somebody that may live in the area, how would you pinpoint them to your distance from one of those major locations?
So we're about an hour away from Montgomery. We're about an hour and a half away from Panama City. For the Troy store. For Huntsville, we're an hour away from Nashville. Yeah, we're literally at the tip of the border of North Alabama and the tip of the border of South Alabama. So Florida, Georgia, I'm not that far away. We have people that come for big tournaments all the time from Florida, Georgia, and Atlanta.
Oh, that's excellent.
Yep.
So you're almost in a perfect position to attract players from different states.
Right. I'm kind of in right in the middle of the Florida, Georgia, Alabama area.
Excellent.
Yep.
What is your role these days in the store on a day-to-day basis?
So I am not much of the day-to-day operations anymore, which is good because I'm supposed to be the least useful person in the store. I have between this and the liquor stores, and I own a couple other things, I'm probably in the store twice a week. And when I'm in the store, I just put out fires. That's really all I do. If somebody emails, I'll take care of it. Or if there's somebody that, wants to buy more than 48 collector boosters and wants a discount, stuff like that. That's all I really do nowadays. I have a really good team.
What's it like dealing with those, putting out fires like that? Because I've talked to other CEOs and heard them say, that's one of the roles that come with being the person at the top, because there's nobody above you. Because I'm sure there could be times where that's a thing you maybe don't want to do, and you're like, oh, I wish I could.
I love it.
Oh, you like it?
I love it. Yeah, it's I really enjoy it because it's something that no one else can do, and I feel like I'm pretty good at it. So it's actually what I enjoy doing.
That's good, especially being in that comfort zone. I'm sure helps knowing like, okay, I can address this without having the hesitation of how do I want to approach it.
Yeah.
So you said you had some other businesses outside of the game store. Do those businesses help feed at the game store at all? Or are they completely separate?
Yeah, they're all completely separate. All different buckets. You can't, especially. I could go off on this for a long time, but liquor stores in Alabama are state controlled.
Okay.
So they come in, look at my books every month. They come in and they're very hands on with those stores. So they can't even leave the bank account until they approve it.
Okay.
So yeah.
Did the other businesses come first and the game store followed, or did you have the game store first?
No, I bought the game store first, and then I bought the liquor stores after the game store, and then I own a media company as well. The media company was after the game store. Yeah, the media company was after the game store too.
Do you feel that any of those businesses have taught you anything that's helped with the way you manage the game store business, or do you have to treat them all as individual entities?
I really have to treat them all as individual entities, just because they're so different than retail. My media company specializes in like live streaming UFC fights, and so that's its own beast. That's why I guess where I get my putting out fires, because when it's a live stream, you have no time. You have to put out the fire in 10 seconds, or the stream's going to go away. Mm-hmm. So I guess in that sense, it's helped me put out fires more effectively.
Okay. And when going to conventions with the team, like we are here today, how do you feel that's helped from a branding standpoint for Magnolia? Is because it would imagine with the bigger shows like this that you need to sell a certain number of singles to break even. That's what some of the other stores have told me here. So I'm just curious with your operation if that is the sole purpose, like that's almost like the mentality going into it. I mean, obviously you want to break even and even potentially make a profit.
My mentality is to buy as many cards as I can. I would rather leave here with $100,000 of cards than I would sell $100,000 of cards. We bring a large amount of money to buy as many singles as we can that walk through the door. I can sell cards online. I don't have to sell them at a show. I want to buy cards here. That's why I'm here.
That makes a lot of sense, and that is a whole different thought process than I would have even imagined. Yeah. Why is that the default? I'm just curious.
Oh well, because we have the outs for it online. We do hundreds of orders a day online. We have hundreds of people that come in our store every day. So I don't necessarily have to sell things in my showcases here. There's only so many people walking in the store in Troy, Alabama, selling me collections. So that's really why we're here.
A way to collect the product to then bring to Troy to be able to sell.
Yep.
That makes a lot of sense. So when you're doing your sales, whether online or at a show, or even at the store, one of the three, which do you notice is bringing in more of the revenue? Is it online or is it?
Oh, online.
Okay.
Yeah, 100%.
And you have a number of employees who that's their job.
Yeah, we have 15 people that handle our online orders purely. That's all they do. Pick and pull, especially on releases, it'll be actually closer to 20. We bring in like 5 people extra for sealed and that kind of stuff out of our warehouse, but for just an average day, it's 15.
When a new set is released, and obviously you want to have those new singles on hand to be able to sell.
Sure.
Are you opening up a lot of sealed products?
So we don't open up sealed product on new sets until 2 weeks after the sealed date.
Why is that?
We're a big sealed store. We sell a lot of sealed online, even though the margins are terrible. We sell a lot of sealed product online. I sell probably 60% sealed, 40% singles.
Wow, that's a drastic difference than what I would have expected.
Yeah, most stores, yeah. Yep.
Because from what I've heard, the profit margin on a booster box is maybe $20, $30.
I wish it was $20, $30.
Oh, it's even worse than that.
Terrible. Yeah, some boxes I make $4 on.
Oh boy.
Yeah, but if you sell a box at $4 1,000 times, it's okay.
Mm-hmm. And are you pretty much able to sell it at the lower price, making a small profit because you're a bigger store?
Correct.
Okay, because you can order the more product where it offsets itself.
Right.
What would be, from your vantage point, looking at the stores as a whole, what is the biggest challenge at the moment right now?
Trying to find profitable products. I mean, we lost money on Commander Masters. I think everybody lost money on Commander Masters. The Throne of Eldraine set seems to be doing well. I was really happy. Release was this weekend, so it did pretty well. We sold out of collector boxes here. We sold out back at store, so that seemed to do well.
That's good.
But yeah, just trying to find products that aren't going to be dead on arrival.
If we could talk about Commander Masters for a little bit, why do you think, outside of, I mean, the price is the big thing, from the store standpoint, from a consumer standpoint, the product itself, price alone in my opinion, looked great. And I was curious if you, from a store owner standpoint, if you thought, okay, this looks like, before knowing what the price was going to be, like this looks like it could be a good seller.
Double Masters 2022 VIP packs, everybody did the same thing. They lost their mind when they found out it was going to be $100 a pack, and then they sold out like crazy. Same thing with Magic 30th boxes. Everybody lost their mind. They were going to be $1,000, and then they sold out in 5 seconds. So I didn't think this was going to be the brick that hit the wall, but it was. The product is good. It's just the fact that the set booster is like $300, $330. It's just crazy.
And is that a cost from your end as well? Like, are you having to pay?
I can't talk about my costs because I have an NDA. But I think on TCG it's like $330, $340, and it's not much of a profit margin. I can say that.
Yeah, that's a rough thing to deal with. So is it then you're mostly just sitting on a lot of that product?
Oh no, I'll get it out. If I lose $10 a box, I'll lose $10 a box. But I would rather get it out of our warehouse before it drops further.
Okay.
Yeah, Commander Masters collector's boxes are already down to like $145.
That's a rough thing to see, because a lot of people are doing like the fire selling, you see, just to get rid of it, because that longer that inventory sits there, that's more money that's just being piled up in stock, and that's a rough spot to sit in.
Yep.
And I don't know if you can comment on this at all, but with Wizards not doing MSRP, is that a challenge from a store standpoint?
I mean, even when they did MSRP, no one followed it, so it really hasn't changed much other than give someone else more ammo to have backlash against Wizards. So no, it really hasn't done anything.
Okay, so it's just it really, from your standpoint, it's just the same.
Yeah, I mean, when there was MSRP, it was like $144, and Pokemon still has MSRP. It's like $170 a box. I haven't sold a Pokemon box for $170 ever. You know. Mm-hmm. So I don't think it changed anything.
Okay, and so on the flip side of the coin, what's something that's going really well right now?
Flesh and Blood. Flesh and Blood's insane. We're one of the largest Flesh and Blood stores in America.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, we just came back from Las Vegas Nats. They have a great model. Their sealed is doing amazing. I mean, I can't tell you my cost, but making $30 and $40 a box feels great. It just seems like the health of that game is really popping off.
What's something you think that they're doing really well that is helping your business in terms of a revenue standpoint that maybe Wizards...
Releasing 3 sets a year.
Going back to that old model.
Yeah, I mean, releasing 3 sets a year creates enough hype for each one. There's a little bit of a lull. You don't have to have $500,000 in the bank at all times. It's a very healthy ecosystem that they've created with just these minor amount of releases, and they still have 4 callings a year, which are the big tournaments like this. Like they had a Battle Hardened here. Dallas SCG Con will have a calling. They just have a really good ecosystem in place, man, and they care about their feedback. They were for the first 6 or 7 sets, I'm not sure, they were doing a first ed box and an unlimited box. Well, stores started not being able to sell the unlimited boxes because everybody wanted the first ed, so they just stopped doing it, and now they have 1 box that has cold foils and rainbow foils instead of doing first ed and unlimited. That's gone great, and the reason they did that is because they listen to stores. So they still are a small enough company where we can talk to them and they listen.
And that's kind of what you want, is just to, be able to give the feedback and be able to have something at least implemented. I wouldn't think a store would expect, Wizards to, or any company doing TCGs to, bend over backwards for every request, but at least to take the feedback, look, this isn't working right now.
Yeah.
Is there something right now that you would like to see, like even outside of the 4 sets, because even as a player myself, that's what I prefer, because it's hard to keep up with all the product.
Yeah, they got to slow down. They got to slow down. I mean, it's literally been screamed at them from every store owner, every Facebook group. I mean, even in the WPN group. And hey, slow down. Please stop releasing a set every 4 weeks. By the time I got done with Commander Masters, well, I wasn't even done with Commander Masters. My rep called me and said, "Hey, I need your money for Wilds of Eldraine." It's like, what do you mean? It's like 4 weeks. It's insane how much product they're pumping out, and it just does not feel good. Cards that are going up and down heavy in value from Lord of the Rings because it's not done yet.
So since that's part of the Universes Beyond product line, and those cards, because there's a lot of them, like Orcish Bowmaster, the One Ring, and I know from a store standpoint they're great sellers.
Sure.
But the thing I'm thinking of is, and I wonder if, I'm sure this has crossed your mind as well as other stores, since that's a licensed product and it's not Wizards IP, those are probably going to, when that's out of print, because they can't technically, I don't think, reprint them, right? Like that would...
I'm not sure how the license contract is, but I mean, they are reprinting another version of the Tales of Middle-earth without the serialized Sol Rings. That happens in, I think, November.
Okay, yeah, I remember seeing something.
Yeah, it's like a new version of it, but it just doesn't have the serialized Sol Rings in it.
And how far in advance do you have to start ordering product for something like that, for how Wilds of Eldraine came about? How
Before spoilers.
well before.
Well before, yeah, well before spoilers. So you just kind of gamble every one. It would be nice to have some spoilers and then be able to order.
Oh, so you don't even get any insight into anything that's in it yet?
No. You get a title. Wilds of Eldraine, how much do you want?
Oh, wow. And so you're shooting in the dark almost, you're guessing each time, like I would suspect based on past trends, this is what is going to be purchased this time, but there's no guarantee.
Absolutely gambling, shot in the dark.
I've heard it once before, but not as clear cut and dry, and it's just kind of mind-boggling, because if you don't have any information, it's a tough, and it's what makes it a tough business to operate in without having any insight. But maybe one day we'll see it change a little bit. Maybe the feedback you all are giving to the WPN program, maybe they'll put something.
I hope so. Yeah, it'd be nice.
What are some of the events, because you said Flesh and Blood is pretty big in Alabama. What are some of the events at your stores that you're currently holding outside of, say, Flesh and Blood, that are most popular?
Oh, I mean, honestly, if you take away Magic and Flesh and Blood, there's not many. I mean, Pokemon is kind of not very big in our area. I mean, we sell sealed boxes of Pokemon, but they're like having a professor, we don't do very many tournaments for it. Battle Spirit Saga was really good for a while. We have a really big Digimon community. Some of the Bandai games, we have a big One Piece community. But other than Bandai games, there's not much else that we do.
I'm surprised about the Pokemon thing, because that's been like going crazy, like at least in my area and like other stores I've talked to. It seems to be dependent upon the region, I would imagine.
All the games are.
Oh,
yeah,
really? Okay.
all the games are. You talk to somebody in Charlotte, like I have some friends in Charlotte, and they're going to say Flesh and Blood doesn't do anything at their store. The Gathering Place, I think you talked to Josh. Mm-hmm. They don't have many people that play Flesh and Blood, but I guarantee they have more people that play Pokemon than I do. So it's just region by region.
That's very interesting. I kind of wonder why that comes about, because Magic is almost like a global thing.
Right.
And these other games,
been around for 30 years.
Of course, yeah, that's going to play a big role.
Right.
What from the Magic formats do you see the most play? And I'm guessing the number one is maybe Commander.
Oh yeah, Commander 100%, and then Modern, and then after that nothing. No one plays Standard. No one. Pioneer had its run. It's very, very few people play Pioneer now. No, I haven't fired a Standard F&M in a year and a half. No one's really playing Standard anymore.
How about Limited?
Limited, yeah, we do a lot of Limited, but just most people want to play Commander, man. Just the pure fact.
We're going to take a quick break from this podcast to talk about our sponsor, Cardboard Shuffle. Cardboard Shuffle was our 10th podcast interview here at the Match Slip with store owner Mark. Mark has expanded his brand and has produced his own card sleeves called Shuffle Shields. Shuffle Shields come in packs of 100 premium matte card sleeves for standard size trading cards. They contain no PVC and are acid free. I have 17 packs of Shuffle Shields card sleeves to give away to listeners of the podcast and followers of the Match Slip on social media. Requests for a free pack of card sleeves shipped for free to you will be processed on a first-come, first-served basis. To receive your free pack of Shuffle Shields, you'll need to send a screenshot that you're following Cardboard Shuffle on Facebook to frank@thematchslip.com. Good luck, and back to the episode.
Are you doing like multiple events per week of Commander to satisfy the demand?
Because we're in a college town. So, most of my players are 20 to 25. And so they just want to come in and really goof off with their friends, and the best way to do that is Commander.
So is your store predominantly like a casual store, like rather than the competitive side of things?
Oh yeah, 100%.
And since living in a college town, how is the ratio between new players coming into the store versus returning players?
That's a four-year loop, After 4 years, I'll lose my entire player base and have to build it over again, which is the bad thing about being in a college town.
It's hard to get to know to get to know people and get to recognize them over time.
Yeah. So I'm on that 4-year loop.
What are some future plans that you're thinking of for the store? I know we talked about the third WPN store. What are some things you're kind of working on or thinking about at the moment?
Really just that, focusing on that third store, whether I'm going to put a bar in it or whether I'm going to put a coffee shop in it. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. It depends on what the county will allow me to do, obviously. But really all the plans are to get that third store up and running.
And how much has that been, with managing 3 businesses like you have, how much has that part of it been the majority of your time?
It's been a lot. Managing that portion is probably like 20 hours a week, but I got to dedicate a lot of time everywhere. So I try to do 20 to 25 hours a week for each business. Okay,
that's a lot of time.
Yeah.
So your free time, I'm guessing, is pretty limited.
Yeah, I don't have much. Yeah, and I have a 3-year-old, so I really have none.
So when you do get maybe that, let's say, sliver of free time,
sure.
Or even even if you want to talk about the past, what were the games or what are the games that you like to play?
I play League of Legends. League of Legends. Yeah, I play League of Legends enough to affect my marriage. So that's what I do with my free time.
And so, how many hours a week would you say overall, you were working?
I work 80 hours a week, 100%.
And it's pretty much Sunday to Sunday every week.
Yep, no off days.
I could tell just from talking with you, your passion for it is very clear. So, do you subscribe to that? It's not a job for you. It's something.
Oh yeah, it doesn't feel like a job. Yeah, I used to, before I did all this, I was a CTO of a car dealership, and I worked 50 hours a week, and it was miserable. Add 30 hours and do it for yourself. It feels a lot better.
And what's the biggest lesson you've learned from running all these businesses?
You can't do everything. Can't do everything. You have to have people. I at one point was trying to run everything by myself, basically, and it's just not possible.
I can imagine that being a challenge. It's giving up some element of control of because it was your baby, right. So it's hard to part with, I would imagine, some of those things. Mm-hmm. And so as time has gone on now, and you have the employees behind you, you're kind of standoff.
Yeah, I've stepped off. Games. Yeah, I've kind of stepped off a little bit. When I go in, it's just to check things. Most of the time, I'm not packing orders or anything like that. So it's nice to be able to just go in and make sure everything's running correctly.
So so you'll dedicate maybe, like you said, what was it, 2 hours a week you'll be in, or 2 days a week you go into the store. Yeah. So is that then, since you pretty much have it delegated at this point, which of your businesses is requiring the majority of your time?
Probably the liquor stores. Liquor stores for sure.
And how is that? What do you have to do with that?
Everything. So the liquor stores are different because when I go in, I make sure the inventory is correct because obviously that's higher theft. They have, for my liquor stores, I have something like 28 distributors for everything. So, just talking to them, making sure everything is coming this week, making sure I'm not going to run out of products, that kind of stuff. I don't let the managers do that quite yet. I probably should, but I'm not ready to let go of that horse yet.
I'm curious how the name Magnolia Games came from, because I could tell you something that you might find amusing.
Yeah.
Magnolia, so my first job I should say my first job when I was in high school was I worked at Best Buy, and they had Magnolia Home Theater, so my first job was on TV.
No. So when I bought the store, it was called Fanatics. I said that earlier. I didn't want it had just a bad name, and I wanted to get rid of it. So when I bought it, I was trying to think of a name to link it back to Troy, but I was not going to call it Trojan Gaming, like literally everything else. And so we came up with Magnolia because Magnolia tree was the first tree ever planted on Troy's campus.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah, so that's why it's called Magnolia Gaming.
Yeah, I do like the name. Very cool.
Thank you, appreciate it.
So as we kind of wrap it up here, what is something you would like to share about the store, or something that, a wish that you have for the store, even though money plays a role in everything?
Sure.
Something that you've been thinking of, like, I was like, if money wasn't an option, if I could maybe see this through at one point, what's something that's been brewing in your mind at all?
Oh man, I've never got to think that way. I guess I would like to have more locations on the West Coast. There's not a lot of, there's 2 or 3 very large stores on the West Coast, but now with Channel Fireball gone, there's kind of an opening there. So I would like to open some on the West Coast. And the other thing is there's not big tournaments on the West Coast. A lot of the SCG cons, and I think furthest west is Texas. So yeah, I would love to open some stores out there.
So you're almost looking to go almost a statewide.
Oh yeah, I'll open a store every year. Yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I open a store every year, whether it's a liquor store or a game store. I open something every year.
And is it off of the existing brands you already have?
Yeah, I won't open
starting
anything else.
new.
Yeah,
Okay.
No, I'm done opening new things.
And I would imagine then the biggest cost up front is payroll, and product.
Signage is the biggest cost.
Really?
Those signs cost so much money. No, people don't understand. They're $30,000 to $40,000 just for the sign.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
That would have never been my thought there. That's something.
The signs are expensive.
And at each new store, it's another hit.
Yeah.
Wow. So, Spencer, this has been great getting to talk with you.
Yeah.
Where can people find out about Magnolia Games?
So magnoliagames.com is our website. If you ever want to sell a collection or anything like that, send us a message at info@magnoliagames.com. We pay between 60 and 80% of TCG low. Always buying collections. And yeah, that's where you can find us. We're also on Facebook at Magnolia Games Troy.
That's awesome. I'll be sure to put all these links in the show notes for the episode.
Thanks again to Spencer for coming on the show. Thank you all of you for listening as well. If you're interested in reading my personal reviews of the game stores I visit throughout the United States, I invite you to join my newsletter at thematchslip.com/newsletter. And with that being said, we'll talk to you all in the next episode. Take care.